Hello, everyone. Welcome to Court of the Rings here on twitch.tv/LotroStream, youtube.com/Lord of the Rings/live, and facebook.com/Lotro. How you doing? Whew, it has been a busy week, and it's going to be a busy couple of weeks here. We are getting ready for the wedding of Aragorn and Arwen. We opened up the Tournament of the Twins this week. We re-enabled an encore of the Spring Festival. That'll be running through the next couple of weekends as well. I'm going to have a lot more information on that stuff and more. I will also be running on Bombadil, but here's the thing about being on Bombadil, though, is that since we went live on Wednesday, I have had literally not 1 minute to log into the game. I've been putting in a ton of work related to the above said things and things that are coming in the future, and then stuff for the other game as well. So other than I've been like getting up in the morning, sitting down at this desk right here, working straight through till like 7 o'clock or so, then spending a couple hours with my son, and then going to bed and doing it all again. So I have not even had a chance to create a character on Bombadil yet, although I just did that before we went live here today. So unfortunately, rather than seeing the PvP-ness of Bombadil, the Turn of the Twins, you're going to see me run the intro, which I know isn't the most exciting thing in the world. But hey, I gotta do it, so there you go. You can barely hear me. Okay, well, that I don't know. I did check my microphone just before going live, and I did turn it down slightly because it was starting to scratch out a little bit. I have this thing where Zoom keeps resetting my microphone to be, and I don't want that on the live stream here today. So there we are. However, before we really get going into the show here today, I'd like to take just a moment to have a moment of silence for one Sir Ian Holm, who passed away, I guess, overnight here this past night at the age of 88 from complications of Parkinson's. And you know who Ian Holm is. Bilbo Baggins in the movies has done just a massive, lengthy career in movies that a lot of us fantasy and role-playing and etc. fans are into. His career is legendary. His acting was legendary. Truly one of the greatest actors of all time. And sadly, Sir Ian Holm passed away overnight. So let me just have a quick moment of silence, if possible, for Sir Ian Holm. All right. Man, 2020 is the worst, man. 2020 is the worst. We lost Sir Ian Holm. That makes me very, very sad. Between like Aliens, Fifth Element, I mean, all the Hobbit stuff. I mean, the guy has just been in so many movies that I love. There we are. Anyway, so let us move away from this. Actually, I do have one thing I wanted to call out real quick before I go into the game client. I wanted to go through the Tournament of the Twins page and talk a little bit about that and give you an opportunity to talk to me a little bit about that. Additionally, we've done a couple of nerfs overnight, so I can talk a little bit about that as well. So let's just get going from the top here on the Tournament of the Twins. You're probably familiar with what it is. Hey, is my son Jeffrey. Yeah, how's it going? So the Tournament of the Twins, named Bombadil, it's a VIP-only server. It opened up on Wednesday at noon. It'll be going through July 14th. You're going to be picking a side, starting, if you wish, at level 10, although I understand some people may be waiting a bit longer so they don't get ganked by higher levels. But nonetheless, starting at level 10, you can approach either of the two sons of Elrond, Elrohir, or Elladan, join their faction, and then once you've joined their faction, you can engage in combat with members of the opposing faction. You will get honor by completing deeds. So the idea is basically you have a month to complete as many deeds as you can while trying not to get ganked by people on the opposing faction there. Each Eriador deed grants 100 points of honor tracked on a leaderboard called the Register of Heroes. You could use the Register of Heroes to view the leaderboard. That leaderboard is going to be posted at the end of the event, probably a week or so after the event ends, over on lotro.com. And so that'll be permanently installed there. Deeds completed prior to accepting a quest from Eladon or Elrahir, or not in the Eriador category, will not count towards the score. Once you're engaged in the quest for honor, you've got only certain safe zones like in Breetown, Gondaman, Rivendell, Mickeldelving, Gloin's Camp, Algair, Tunandir, Gathforthneir, Ostguruth, and Othrakar. If you're defeated, you get a short stealth and haste buff to kind of get you out of the battle and back into it. You cannot gain XP in any instance after level 10. This includes Instance Finder and Quest instances, and there's a level cap of 50. VIP only, again, through July 14th. Now, we've got a supplemental that we added to the page, so if you haven't seen it yet, we'll be putting the localized French and German versions up after the live stream here today, but you can get a Team Elrahir or Eladon cloak for getting 2,500 honor. You can get a contender title, Tournament Contenders frame, Herald of Rivendell title, Tournament Gladiators frame, Favored of Elrond title, Tournament Heroes frame, Champion of Rivendell title, and Exalted Champion of Rivendell title for really maxing everything out there. At the end of the event, we're going to have a transfer period. Those who play the other game and are used to sort of the way we do the end of the hardcore season there should be pretty similar, with one difference, and that is that the server will be closed. Server transfers will be free, and you will be able to transfer these characters to any game world other than Enor and Ithil. All the non-legendary game worlds. So whether it's US or European, it doesn't matter. You can transfer a character to said world. So perhaps that may be something of note for those interested. This is a way to get up to a level 50 character on perhaps a US or EU world, depending on what you want to do. Standard restrictions, basic, it's a world transfer. So all the stuff that happens with the world transfer in terms of like mail not coming with you, things like that apply. When the Tournament of the Twins is over, players have had an opportunity to transfer off the server, generally a couple weeks to a month. The server will have a complete database wipe prior to future events. So if you don't get your character off of Bombadil, we give you plenty of time to do it. And if you don't do it, however, that character will be gone for good. Then we're going to publish the Register of Heroes on lotro.com. Let me see if I can find... I took a couple of screenshots of the cloaks that I used for social media here, but let me see if I can quick call those up. Where did I put those now? Here we go. So this is one of the cloaks, I believe. I don't want to get it mixed up. Eladon, I think. And then Elrahir. Move that over there. Then put this one up here so you can take a look. These are the cloaks that you can earn for getting the various honor. Similar, obviously, in styling, different in color. All right, let me head over to chat. Make sure I clear out the chat before I get into the main game here today. Eladon is red, Elrahir is blue. Great, thank you. Can we get some renown for kills? No. I recognize that there are people who would like to get honor for kills, but ultimately we chose not to go that route. For one thing, it would probably encourage people to sort of kill farming each other, but for another, it's really about completing deeds rather than that. So I recognize that perhaps that would be another way to go, but we chose not to do that for this time around. Why do we hate so much Guardians? We don't hate so much Guardians. I actually talked a little bit about Well, actually, I can talk about that in a second here. But I talked to Vastin about the state of Guardians a little bit yesterday. It is his intention to work on Guardians hopefully in the near future when time permits. I don't have an ETA to announce there, but it is one of the first classes that got a class pass back in the day, and it's something that he would like to do again when time permits. However, we did have to take one action over in the past 24 hours, one for Guardians and one for Bjornings, and let me go call that up right now on an announcement page. Here we go. I just added the Bjorning stuff a couple of minutes before going live here, so this may be the first time you see this or hear this, but yeah, we nerfed a couple of Bjorning healing skills on Bombadil only. On Bombadil only, we have reduced the damage from the Guardian ability Flash of Light, as it was frankly ridiculous. This change will be applied to all servers, however, in a future patch, basically the next patch. Additionally, we have run a command on Bombadil that increases the cooldown of the Bjorning healing skills Hearten and Composure from 14 seconds to 20 seconds. Additionally, the number of healing pulses on each skill has been reduced from 8 to 4. This change will happen on the other live game worlds as well in a future patch. So Hearten and Composure getting a bit of a nerf. Reason now, people have already seen a few complaints about, oh great, you're nerfing this stuff because it's on the PvP world rather than PvE. Oh, true, but these are changes that needed to be made, and it was really just exposed by Bombadil this week just how serious an issue it was for the health of the Tournament of the Twins. So we ran the command here on the Tournament of the Twins, and we'll be taking care of it in the future on all the other live game worlds. And we'll be hopefully working on Guardian in the near future. Yeah, I think, Yiki, that's an interesting idea about maybe if not doing honor specifically, having some kind of stats or alternate kind of chart for player kills, things like that. The Tournament of the Twins, this is an event. This is their first time running the event, and it's a fairly experimental event, as folks well know. So it is likely that we'll be taking feedback from people as to how this, what they like and don't like about the Tournament of the Twins, and then if we bring it back in the future, we'll make some adjustments for it. So I actually have heard, as much as I've heard on the forums recently about just how, quote, unplayable again Guardians are, I've also heard from other people who were like, I play a Guardian, and I assure you that they are not that bad. So I think that, as with a lot of class balance, you're looking at specific areas of concern, whether that be high-level rating, maybe specific DPS or mitigations, things like that. But if you were to look at the forums, you would definitely see an opinion, a strong opinion expressed about the current power of Guardians. And then if you hear from others, you'll hear maybe that opinion is a little bit overblown. But I don't know personally, so I'm not going to make any judgment whatsoever as to what that is. That would ultimately be a decision from folks like Vastin who know what they're doing and can make that decision better than I can. I'm going through chat here to see what else I can get to answer. Okay. Looks like I've cleared through Twitch chat in terms of the stuff I can answer here. There was one bug that I would need to follow up on, so I'm not really able to do much. Angry Lynx, you do have something that I can talk about. Speaking about classwork, are we aware that the Yellow Line Lore Master trait Enfeeble has been buggy for a couple of years now? Yes. And this week, I specifically, along with QA, asked the systems team to attempt to prioritize that work if they can. So hopefully we'll have some news for you on Enfeeble in a future patch here. Maybe not the next patch, maybe the patch after that. But yes, we're aware of it, and we will hopefully get that fixed sooner rather than later. Any news for the Legendary server? We are working to bring Helm's Deep to the Legendary worlds, and that should happen later, I believe later next month, so later in July. Please put the benefits like the cloaks on the website article. I just did, although there's some technical. Well, okay, so I just grabbed those screenshots and put them live. They didn't really go through a formal marketing approvals process, so I'm not sure I'd want to include them on the main linked page. But perhaps I can do that if the art team feels those images are acceptable enough. Yes, Lex on Facebook. We opened up the Tournament of the Twins. That's the PvP server you're referencing on Wednesday of this past week, and it runs through July 14th. So the other thing I could mention is we did find a gap in our Lotro bonus days schedule. I'm just trying to figure out how to get... Okay, here we go. In our Lotro bonus days schedule, and so we sort of did an evasive maneuver overnight where we enabled the Spring Festival for the next couple of weekends. So the Spring Festival is going to be running, make sure the date is correct, yes, running through Sunday, June 28th. It'll be shut off at 3 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday, June 29th. We really saw an opportunity to do an encore. We know that the community has asked for us to do those encores, and so we'll be doing that when we can. But this seemed like a good opportunity, so we just kind of quick made it happen. There we go. Oh, practice combat. Where'd my sword go? Where did I put that? No, do I already have it in my hand here? All right.
Well done.
All right.
Let us press on.
So anyway, that's going on. We recognize that people would like the summer festival to get worked on. We've heard your suggestions about the Farmers Fair. I don't know what we're going to be able to do there. One of the things we're doing is, the wedding itself is going to be a recurring yearly festival event. So some of this is competition between how to fit both the wedding, say, / midsummer festival, whatever its final name ends up being, and the summer festival. So I think the summer festival may get moved a little bit later in the year, and we'll be having it consolidated with the Farmers Fair. I think there's some question about whether we might be able to consolidate the tokens as well for Farmers Fair and Summer Festival, and then be able to support both events better in the future. Now, I recognize that's not necessarily the most popular opinion, but hopefully with the addition of the new festival coming, people are going to be gaining a new festival rather than... That'll be in the calendar there as well. So hopefully that'll be something that you will enjoy. If we can fit encores for some of the other festivals, I think that that's something we would be interested in doing. I just don't know what the timing of that's going to be. Yes, Inkling, I am playing on Bombadil, and I'm sorry that I'm really just doing this kind of way early intro quest, so it's just a matter of my time has been nuts in the last couple of days. We need more buried treasure events. Okay. So more buried treasure events. So that is, I think, a relatively recent development, due to the introduction of the Hobnanigans prizes into buried treasure. We certainly know it seems to have kind of rejuvenated the buried treasure as an event that players are interested in. Perhaps it's something we can do. The Aussie, we've already seen a couple of suggestions about incentivizing PvP on Bombadil. That's something we could perhaps do in the future. I would say this, however, that when I looked at the forums this morning, I did not see...
Wounded by a Black Rider, the Ranger Umdir escaped with his charges into the wild, making his way back to the village of Archet.
There, Captain Brackenbrook, a retired sellsword, has allowed Strider and his companions to stay and take respite from their cares.
Alright, let me... Gonna go through chat. I did see a couple of things here. Oh, what I was saying is, when I looked at the forums this morning, I saw some threads about how PvP is actually quite active right now.
Do not trouble yourself on my
And,
it is only a
on
cheat.
Bombadil, so I'm not sure that the...
All pressing and none of them easy.
I don't think we're really in a position right now of hurting for PvP on Bombadil. Now, if that was the case, like if we actually weren't seeing people take part in that aspect of it, perhaps that's something we could take a look at. But it certainly doesn't seem, at least initially here, like we're in a position where PvP is not happening. If anything, I'm hearing from some folks who are just like, just roams of high levels ganking people on outside of Bree and what have you. So I don't know. Maybe I'll find out myself here in the near future how we do. Although the idea of having a kind of separate defeat tracker or something like that is certainly not a bad one. All right. If you reward kill count, a few friends will just spend all day killing each other. Yeah, that's sort of the basic issue there. We need a bard class. Okay. Champ Dire needs work. Okay. Any news on double bonus points? I can't announce double bonus points early. I don't have the... I can't really do that. I can't give people a secret hint as to what's coming and what's not. I would say that we do double bonus points fairly regularly, and they tend to be timed toward kind of big weekends and things like that. So, stay tuned.
Alas for peaceful folk everywhere. It is an enormous task to convince them that evil people with evil intentions will commit evil deeds.
I'm down for like a bard class, although Lotro is actually quite extensive in its music system, so I'm not 100% sure that... I mean, we have a lot of great kind of music type stuff happening right now, so I'm not really sure that that's really necessary. But it's a cool idea. I have to admit, I have not played a Guardian before, and part of the reason I'm choosing one for Bombadil is due to the recent discussion on it, so I need to actually read up as to how to play a Guardian. For I do not know. There's more stuff.
what you need.
Alright. Talk to Strider. Does the free quest code include deeds? It includes the quest content. So if that quest includes deeds, then yes, basically it's just the base packs on all that stuff. But it is the adventure packs as you would earn them or purchase them in the Lotro store. So yeah, I would think so. Is there any expansion coming in this year's or the next? We have mentioned in our producer's letter that Gundabad will be next year.
Do you feel confident in what you have learned? Dear, my poor old friend. A shadow has crept over him.
I don't like the look of those rangers one bit.
Let's see what else we have. Warden changes went randomly quiet after being introduced. Any news or updates? Not really. I think similar to all class work, it's not going to be a full top to bottom pass. It's rather incremental work that's being done. And it'll be done when we can. And it'll be a never-ending process. But I don't have something specifically to talk about Wardens right now. Especially with all of us working from home, my visibility on sort of daily activity by a specific developer is maybe a little less than it used to be. John of the Ring. So I too would love to be able to do for Facebook. John is suggesting that he'd love to be able to stream on the Lotro page. I agree. I would love to be able to get players to stream as we do with Lotro Stream on, say, Facebook. But Facebook does not currently have the tools to support that. Hopefully those tools will exist in the near future, but they don't currently exist now. Oops. There we go. I don't have the ability to kind of like set, give out stream keys like I can on Twitch, for example, to allow others to stream to our channel. Alright, so there's the King's Foil. Search top for the source of the wolves. Yep. Alright. Defeat wolves. Okay. I can do that. I am not sure what you're talking about, Angry Links, about making big battle set jewelry unequipable behind a certain level. I don't know. I haven't heard that myself. If I do hear it, it'll be probably included in a release note somewhere. But I don't know how you would know something before I do, so I'm gonna guess that's firmly in rumor territory. Oh, use the banner to summon the offender. Do not leave the platform. Okay. Yo, G, why did you set me up to be ambushed? Alright. They do have them. It's page management and stream keys. Well, I can look into that. That's news to me. I think it would be... The way Facebook works is a little different from, say, the way Twitch works. I don't know that, as of today, I've got the time to be able to dedicate to setting up a community stream regularly on Facebook. But I love the idea, so I will look into that when I have some free time and see what I can do in that regard. I mean, I know I can get a stream key and just share it out, but it would need to have individual stream keys for each person. And my understanding is that, at least until last time I looked, Facebook didn't have that ability. And I wouldn't want to give out just sort of the one stream key to anybody who wanted to stream. So people are saying I could skip the tutorial. I didn't have a checkbox to skip the tutorial when I was making my character this morning. So if there's a way to skip it on Bombadil, I'm not personally aware of it.
I cannot decide which is more dangerous right now.
I could pay to skip the tutorial, but...
Captain Brackenbrook.
Mossfinger. About 100 people participated in an in memoriam procession from the Three Trolls to the Hall of Fire in Rivendell on Evernight. Was moving to take part in R.I.P. Sir Ian Holm. Really neat. Neat. I like it. Nothing to announce on the new raid, sorry.
Oi, you there! Let me go! Calder Cop can vouch for me!
Greetings.
How can you say this? Calder Cobb has been loyal to me since he was a boy. I suppose it would be wise to investigate your claim.
I'm not even worrying about what armor I have on. I'm only level 4. Does it actually matter? I generally, for this tutorial stuff, am just of the assumption that it doesn't actually matter what I'm wearing or what I'm doing until it starts to. But yes, I will be putting on heavy armor. Why did we choose to not to allow players to Valar to 50? I don't know. For Bombadil, I assume it was just to keep things competitive. But I'm also not sure. I don't think we specifically gated anything. So, have you checked to see if you actually can? I have not heard of plans to expand housing hooks on Cape of Belfast housing when Rohan housing debuts. We do not currently have level restrictions on engaging in combat. That's an interesting idea, but I don't have anything to announce about that. Like I said, that would be for a future tournament, should we choose to go that route. Oh, it is worth mentioning that there was an interview done this week with D&Co du Milieu on Rohan housing. I think there's a couple of nice things in there that are worth mentioning. The upcoming Guard and Bjorning changes, are they to adjust for PvE, endgame, or PvP? The answer is both. They are just general balance changes across the game, not specifically targeted toward a specific section of the game. Also, John of the Rings on Facebook. That's cool. It sounds like you're doing some pretty regular streaming over on Facebook, so perhaps those over there who might be interested in finding a Lotro streamer on Facebook Gaming should check out John of the Rings.
This cannot be. I must write to Brackenbrook at once.
Will Rohan housing be comparable in cost to Belfast? We have not yet discussed the cost. I have nothing to announce at this time. I have not specifically announced Guardian buffs. No. I have mentioned that it is something Vastin would like to do in the future with no ETA or time frame announced, nor scope announced. Other than I've said it will not be a full top to down class pass. Yeah. So whatever he posts in the forums would be the most accurate term. He's the one who has visibility on it in a way that I do not, because he'd be doing the work. I'm aware people do not like the ceaseless argument cooldown change. I am also aware that it was done for balance and deemed appropriate.
What have I done? You cannot fathom just how wrong I have been.
Do not despair. You have done well.
Would it be possible to have a PvP server open permanently? I mean, never say never on any of that stuff. I think at least short term we would be looking at probably another season of the Tournament of the Twins or something like that in the future, but it all depends ultimately on the success, failure, and interest in the community of the event. So I guess we'd have to see. It is certainly theoretically possible to do. I just don't know that that is something we don't have any actual plans to do that right now. Any talk of Locher doing a hardcore server league like in DDO? To some extent, that's what this is. I mean, they're not the same, but conceptually, they're somewhat similar.
I presume you're here to bring me ill news from town. Calder Cobb has shown his true colors at last.
What am I doing? Brigands, information, searching for people, collecting boar meat. Okay. Gussie Moose, also welcome. Hello. Gussie is streaming over on Mixer. I actually had an opportunity to check out her show on Wednesday of this week. Mixer.com/Gussie. This is just the first character I'm creating on Bombadil. I haven't had an opportunity to play on Bombadil yet, but here we are. Is there a reason for the data wipe after the season 1? Generally, that is done so that people start on an even playing field for future seasons. So, for example, if we were to bring the Tournament of the Twins back, everyone would start at the same general vicinity, rather than have a cumulative, you played last season, so you're at a great advantage for the next season, sort of a thing. And that is the general reason why we would do something like that. And I believe that is the thinking on this one as well. Yeah, Kitty wants something or other. I have not cut my hair in years. We'll see. We'll see if I ever cut my hair again. Certainly the suggestion that we implement some kind of benefit for defeating other people on the Tournament of the Twins is, as you can see in our own Twitch chat, something that probably the top bit of feedback that we've received. So it would not surprise me at all if we were to listen to that feedback and perhaps do something about it in the future. Where did my friend go? There we go.
Greetings, traveler.
All right. Oh no, Bladehawk, that sounds terrible. I'm so sorry for you. Also, a cap. You know, you can only defeat people who are within a certain level of you or something. Would be a fairly significant systems change, but certainly is something we've heard from the community about over the past couple of days. Something like 5 levels, people are saying. That's interesting. Meredith is saying that instances are being used to level, even though we're saying in the notes they are closed. I will have to follow up on that. That doesn't sound right to me. That sounds wrong. Like something that should not be.
A dead end will surely work in our favor.
John Brackenbrook and his hunters have reached the outskirts of Archit.
I look like Dave Grohl, or Dave Grohl's brother. Dave Grohl's less talented brother. I will take that.
We have no time to lose.
Him and I are of the same
We
generation.
must save Ned.
Mr. Grohl and I. Somehow I have a feeling an international, world-famous rock star compared to me. I think the rock star is going to win.
Archet must still be saved. There are more up ahead.
Have I ever fought any Foo? No, but I love the Foo Fighters. Although I'm not actually... I don't... Well, I say I love them. I think they're great. But I don't actually really own any of their albums, except for their debut album on cassette. But I think that they seem like a really fun group of people to hang out with. I think they're creative and interesting.
We must find my father.
And I love some of their... Most of their videos are also really good. And I would totally see them live.
Look, Hartley is ahead. All must not be lost. Well met, friend. Is the crafting hall safe?
I don't know what the free code is off the top of my head. I'd have to check the page I published yesterday. I no longer remember. ATK up? Yeah, ATK up, actually. And it's an attack boost 5%, 60 minutes, I think? 90 minutes? Okay, so I guess I do remember it. ATK up.
Although the Mad Badger burns, I still hold out hope.
You're not getting XP and instances? Good, good. Glad to hear.
I knew you would survive.
Sounds like there's a mix of whether or not instances are providing XP. I can sick QA on it after the sure here.
They approach! Defend us!
So what's up with the Spring Festival? We saw a gap in the calendar that would have been the Summer Festival. The reason the Summer Festival isn't happening is we have not had an opportunity to update the Summer Festival yet. We want to make sure that we have new loot and things like that for you before we go live with it. And we saw a gap in the schedule when we were kind of working on our bonuses yesterday. And we're like, quick, can we throw in an encore? Yeah, which one should we do? Well, maybe the Spring Festival? Okay. And so we put the Spring Festival out through June 28th, yesterday, as an encore. So that's what's up with the Spring Festival. I also think, at least heading into the show here today, there is some interest on the part of the team to bring back Bilbo's birthday through the weekend in honor of Sir Ian Holm. So maybe that'll be happening too. So stay tuned on an announcement for that. I appreciate your concern, Eileen, on Facebook about, whether you feel PvP should be allowed in Lotro, that it maybe goes against certain lore and things like that. I would say that, we will almost I could never see a scenario where we would just have open PvP on all of the game worlds. So I would, hopefully that will alleviate some of your concerns there. And yes, actually, Eileen, the Spring Festival is on the servers. I understand it was not, though. Actually, I think I know what you're talking about. I saw a thing early this morning that we had mixed up, or messed up, and did not put it on.
With the Black Wolves' attack foiled,
so that was a little late. So check now, and I
rebuild.
think you'll find the
Yet
Spring
not
Festival
all
is available.
hopes are so easily mended. The fate of the Ranger Amdir remains uncertain and may have dire consequences for Breland. But hope remains that he may yet be saved.
What can I do for you?
No, I'm going to be wrapping up the show here in a couple minutes, so I'm not going to...
Stay a moment.
Not going to do that. Sorry.
Might I take a moment of your time?
Alright, before I wrap up the show, though, let's see what we got. Can't hear me over the movie. Yeah. What I was saying is I think overnight one of the servers got missed on the Spring Festival, so that may be what Eileen on Facebook was referencing. That should be corrected as of something like 7 o'clock this morning-ish. So check now, and you should see the Spring Festival on all the worlds. Right. I don't like Citadel of Geeks generally giving things like percentages of people who do X. I often find that that is a transient figure that is not accurate. Certainly, maybe it was accurate at the time that it was said, but the community tends to see it as chiseled in stone forever. So if Sapiens back in the day said something along the lines that PvMP was close, not even close to 10% of the population, I have no idea. I assume that that was true at the time that it was said, but I would never say something like that. I have no idea if it's true. I bet it's not. I have no idea if it's higher or lower, and even if I did, I wouldn't say. The other main figure I hear is just like 1% of the people use the forums. That's almost never been true. It's certainly higher than that. And there's also a difference between who uses the forums and who reads the forums. The number of people who post is a lot smaller than the number of people who read, by an order of magnitude. If you have a rock concert and there are 4 people in your band and the stadium is full, there are more than 4 people in that stadium. But I would never give that kind of info out. And for the reason, as I stated, which is that even if it's true at the time it's being said, that sort of thing tends to come and go, increase and decrease over time based on what else is going on in the world, in the game, in video games in general, and players' interest in certain things. There is a time where first-person shooters were deemed dead. That clearly is not the case today. So if you were to chisel in stone some kind of statement from the mid-2000s, say, for example, that, no one plays first-person shooters and it's only 5% of the gaming population, that certainly would not be the case today because of Fortnite and things. And that sort of thing happens at a micro level as well in the game of Lotro. So, yeah. I would generally not state that kind of stuff. It is true. Okay, I guess I could say it is true that the number of people who PvP compared to the people who don't PvP is generally scaled toward, in general, fewer people engage in PvP than not PvP in Lotro. But that doesn't really mean anything. It's a meaningless figure. Oh no! Fortnite's not a first-person shooter? I guess you're right. It's an over-the-shoulder third-person thing. You know what I mean, though. I don't play Fortnite either. But you know what I mean. That kind of thing, as a statement, would become quickly inaccurate. We would love to do UI scaling and 4K support and some other things. I don't have anything to announce in regard to when that might be, but we'll see. This time the Spring Festival Hedge Chicken Quest does not have a limited time. The chickens are there all the time. Ooh, that's an interesting change. I hadn't heard that. That's neat. Certainly not an intentional change that I'm aware of, but I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing if it were to be true. All right, I think I'm going to wrap it up then for the show. We have got the Tolkien Professor coming up here in just a little bit. You can find the full schedule over on twitch.tv/LotraStream. I'll be back next Friday. Don't know what I'm going to do. Could be Springfest, could be more of this, probably more of Bombadil here. We'll see what kind of opportunity I get to play in the coming week here to hopefully level this character up a little bit. So I'm not running this lobby pre-PvP stuff with you. At the very least, I'd like to have one Gankfest stream where basically people just destroy me for an hour and I sit there and get frustrated and go, why? That sounds like a fun time to me. So thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you again next week. Bye-bye.